I'm Officer Harold Ely, and welcome to Behind the Badge, where you get an up-close and personal look at the Newport News Police Department. Today, we're at Communications 911 Center, so sit back and take a look at what happens when you dial 911. Today on Behind the Badge, we are in our Emergency 911 Center, and I've got the pleasure of being here with the commander of that center, Lieutenant Jill Daskowski.
Hello.
Welcome to Behind the Badge.
Thank you.
I look around the 911 Center, and it's been a while since I've been down here, and I'm a little amazed. There's a lot going on down here these days.
There is.
Yes. Tell me a little bit about it. But before I get there,
Sure.
for our viewers with Behind the Badge, we like to talk about you a little bit.
Okay.
All right? So tell me, how long have you been with the department, and how long have you been here?
I have been with the Newport News Police Department since March of 1996. I have been the commander in communications since April of 2011.
Okay. All right. And that position change for you, how's that gone?
It was a challenge. As you said, there's a lot of technology down here. We've had a lot going on since I did get transferred into communications. Our biggest thing being our phone upgrade. And with that phone upgrade, we've had a lot of technology that we've all been learning and dealing with since then. So,
speaking of phones, people call 911 constantly. This is a 24-hour-a-day operation.
It is.
And some people really don't realize that. So maybe you could tell us just a little bit about how this operation works.
Sure. We have 3 shifts. Like you said, it's 24 hours. So we have a day, evenings, and midnights. We have, on those shifts, we have a call taker. We have police radio for North, Central, and South. We have fire. We also have a relief person and then a supervisor. So we have that as a minimum.
Okay. And generally, how many people are working at any given time?
It depends on the shift, but on average, 7 to 8.
7 to 8 people. All right. And they're monitoring all of these monitors that I see here. They're keeping up with the phones. They're answering calls.
Yes.
And I know that takes a special kind of person.
It does. It takes a special person that knows how to multitask. Because if you need to know anything, when you come into this occupation, you need to know how to multitask.
Okay.
And these are the experts at doing it that are here right now.
I like that you said experts.
Absolutely.
Because I know it takes a special person to be down here in this room and listen to those calls as they come in.
It is, and it's different because you and I were both used to being out on the street and responding to the call, but they're the ones they are the first responder. They're getting that phone call. They're the first ones speaking to that complainant or the victim, and it's very hard to do that and not have contact with the person eye to eye. Yeah. So they're getting all the information that we need to keep us safe.
Okay. All right, then briefly, I'm looking around again. I see all of these monitors, and I find that exciting. What are the dispatchers looking at right now, basically in the room? What am I seeing?
Okay, well, you're seeing police radio. You've also we have different pods now with the new upgrade.
Okay.
So we have police pod, and then a fire pod. And also in the back, you have the supervisor's pod. And along the far wall back here is a station set up for all call takers.
All call takers, which means what?
Which means when a citizen calls in to 911, it'll go directly to a call taker. They'll get all pertinent information and then transfer that call to whichever precinct it would go to or fire.
Okay, so a typical call comes in, and I want to ask you specifically about one call in particular that came in where we did a little bit of publicity on it, where we had a young girl, I think she was 4 years old, is that correct?
Yes.
And she made a 911 call to help save her mother.
She did,
Okay.
She did.
Yeah, we'll talk about that call. But how does that call come in? You get a 911 call from a 4-year-old, there's a lot of work that has to go on there.
There is, and in that particular call, we have EMD software that's used, emergency medical dispatching. So when that call taker received that call, she realized, okay, I need to perform emergency medical dispatching with this person. And because it was a young girl, she had to talk to her in a way that she would understand it, where it's not the technical lingo that would come with that. And she did a fantastic job. So she walked her through finding out what the emergency was, what kind of help she needed, and then constantly updated that call. So she put in the information she got in the first probably 30 seconds. That went to the dispatcher for that precinct.
Okay.
And then that's when the dispatcher dispatched for medics. start en route. And while the medics were en route there, the dispatcher talked her through what she needed to do to help her mother during that incident.
During that incident. And that took a long time?
It took probably from the beginning of the call to when the medics arrived, it took approximately 6 to 7 minutes.
Okay, all right. Well, that could be pretty intense, I would imagine.
It is, but the emergency medical dispatching helps us to help the people during an emergency before the medics can get there.
Okay, and was this a seasoned call taker or was it a new person?
No, it was someone that was fairly new out of the academy, and I think she had been maybe on her own out of training for maybe 2 weeks.
Oh, wow.
So it was she did a fabulous job, and it was a really good call for her.
Well, do you think we could listen to that call?
Absolutely.
All right.
Absolutely.
Well, let's take a moment and listen.
Okay.
Newport News 911, where's your emergency?
My mom is having a seizure, so I thought if I can call you guys, and I'm 4. I call people in 6 and 9, and I really need you to help me.
Okay, your mommy's having a what?
Seizure.
Okay. Can she talk to you?
Like not when she's having a seizure.
Is she having one right now?
Yeah, I can hear her.
Okay. I'm gonna ask you some questions if you could help me a little bit, okay?
Okay.
Can you tell if she's breathing?
Sarah.
Hello.
Hi, how are you?
Good, how are you?
Good. I want you to take a moment and introduce yourself to our audience, and then we'll talk about what you do.
I'm Sarah Sledge. I've been with the department for about 1.5 years. I started right out of college. I went to Old Dominion. And yeah, I
And
love
now
my
you're here and you're working, right?
Yes.
Okay. 911 call comes in. A young girl is in distress, and you pick up the line. Let's walk through that.
Well, from the sound of her voice, I could tell that she was very young. Usually when a child calls, we try and differentiate between whether it's a real emergency or if it's just a kid playing on the 911 line. But I could tell by the sound of her voice that, she was very nervous about the situation. Her mom was having a seizure, but you could also tell that she had done this before. She knew what to do, and her mom and dad trained her very well to call 911 and to show her how to handle it correctly.
Okay.
So.
And how old are we talking? How young?
She was
is the girl?
4.
4 years
She
old.
had just turned 4, she told me.
Oh, that's
So.
amazing. Andrea,
Yes.
you're a 911 supervisor.
Yes.
All right. I want you to take just a moment to let our audience know who you are, how long you've been here, and then we'll talk about being a supervisor.
Okay. Well, I'm Andrea Eve Studevant. I've been with the department for 22 years now. I absolutely love what I do. I operate as midnight shift supervisor. The shift work is very different. You're always needed.
Always needed. I like that. All right. Always needed. Being a supervisor, 911 supervisor, there has to be a lot of stress, or maybe not. You want to tell me about that?
Oh, it's a lot of stress.
Okay.
I just found out that I grind my teeth because of stress.
Oh my gosh.
So it's a lot of stress. But there's a lot of ways that we're taught to deal with that stress. And all stress is not bad stress.
Okay.
Some of it can be a good stress too.
All right.
But most of the time you just try to enjoy the workspace while you're here. You have good team members. I have excellent team members. I love my shift. I love what I do in general, and I think we all do, which makes it less stressful for us.
Okay. All right. And as a supervisor,
Yes.
listening to that type of call, what's going through your mind? I know you have protocols that have to be followed, and obviously Sarah did an excellent job doing that. But what are you thinking?
I'm thinking that we gave this team member the very best training that she could possibly have, which allowed her to handle that call independent of her supervisor or any other assistants.
All right. Okay. All right. Training. So that's what it all comes down to.
That's what it all comes down to.
All right. Talk a little bit about that, if you will.
It is imperative that we have training that's being provided to our team members that's going to help them be independent, make decisions, and use good judgment. And on the floor, because the supervisor is not always going to be there, another team member is not always going to be available to assist because, of course, we have other things going on. Newport News is a very busy city. So preparation through training is paramount to your success here.
Okay. And how long is the training program?
The training program is normally right around 12 weeks, and then from there they go to the floor. They're able to handle phone calls somewhat independently,
Okay.
with assistance mostly, and then from there they begin their training on the radios. Total training time could be anywhere from 12 to 18 months.
12 to 18 months. All right. And at the time you took the call, where were you in that process?
I was just starting my police radio training.
Okay.
So I had been training for a little over a year.
A little over a year. All right. Emotions. Let's talk about those. What did it feel like? Let the audience know how you felt taking that call.
It's very nerve-wracking
Okay.
because we have questions we want to try and ask callers when it's a medical situation, and trying to ask these adult questions to a 4-year-old while trying to keep her calm kind of made me have to stay calm as well, which in this type of job isn't always easy. So getting her to relate to me and to know that I'm there to help was part of what I had to do.
We had a very, very good outcome to this call. And as you said, it's training, it's being calm, it's knowing what to do.
Absolutely.
Education. Now, I know there are all levels of education. For example, Lieutenant Duskowski has her master's degree, and she is commander of your unit. You both have your degrees. How important is education, and what is the level of education in the 911 Center?
The requirement for the position is a high school diploma or GED.
All right.
That is the requirement for
Okay.
the position.
All right. And from there, it just floats anywhere?
It does.
It does?
It does.
Okay, all right. So people bring all kinds of
They do.
experience to the 911
Absolutely.
Center.
And a lot of it is very necessary.
You said something about life experience. Would
Yes.
you mention that, please?
Life experience and what we do is very important. It's good to have that life experience. Of course, with the younger generation that we see now, we don't see a lot of that, but most of them have that college education, which they do a lot of practicals in that area, which I think better prepares them to perform the job here. But life experience, such as the call that Sarah had, I don't know if she's had much contact with young children, but what I do know is that she was trained very well to handle any call to include young children, because just as she said before, there's a certain way that you have to speak to different people. So you're going to speak to the elderly differently than you would speak to a young child.
Yes, okay.
So education does play a part, but life experience and common sense plays a bigger part.
If there's one thing that you can tell the citizens of Newport News about being a dispatcher, about the profession of being a dispatcher, and I'm going to ask each of you, what would that be? Just one thing. Let's start with you.
I think if it was one thing I would want our citizens to know is that when they call us and we answer that phone, they need to trust that we truly do know what we are doing.
Okay. Excellent, excellent. And you, Sarah?
Mine would be to, when you call 911, whether you're 4 years old or 84 years old, to know that we are going to help you and to try and get as much information as you're able to give us in that first couple seconds that we pick up the phone, because sometimes that can be the most important.
All right. Well, I want to thank you for being on Behind the Badge, and keep up the good work.
Thank
Thank
you
you.
for having us.
Hi, I'm Carol Wender. I'm the 911 manager for the City of Newport News Police Communications Division. I've been the 911 manager here for about a year. I've been here for 21 years. I began at the beginning just like everybody else. I'm very excited to be a part of our team, and we look forward to having you join our team of professionals in communications.
Communications personnel are vital to the safety of the city and to the police department and the fire department. They, in my opinion, are truly the first responders. When you call 911, that's who you get, and they will gather all information needed so that the police and fire department can perform their duties correctly once they get there.
Becoming a 911 dispatcher is a critical link not only for the departments who respond on emergency, but it's a critical link in between the citizens and the responders. We need some really capable individuals, and we invite you, if you're interested, to pick up the phone and call us. We need you on our team.
Well, welcome back to Behind the Badge. I am now in the training slash
Computer lab
with Ms. Sherelle James. And Ms. James, you've been with the department for quite a while.
Yes, I have. I've been here, it'll be 23 years in August.
Great. All right.
Yes.
23 years. You are the training coordinator
Yes.
and also 911 supervisor.
Yes.
All right. What does it take to become a 911 supervisor?
There's a process. You go through an application as far as put in for being promoted. You go through an interview panel, and then you have to see Chief Fox. And from there, he make a determination based upon the questions that he interview you with.
Okay. But I would imagine that the fact that you've been here for 23 years has played a lot into your becoming a supervisor and training others in what happens in the dispatch center.
Yes, I started entry level. I also had the opportunity to serve as a trainer. I was promoted as a senior, which what they do is twofold. They train new personnel, and they also serve in the absence of the supervisor. So I had a lot of leadership training and responsibility, and then with the knowledge of what we do in the center.
Okay. What does it take for novice, people who don't know anything about 911 dispatch? What does it take for them to come in and become a good 911 dispatcher?
We do have a training program, and the training program is based upon teaching everyone that comes through our academy our policies and procedures. It teaches us as far as our communication skills, our techniques, our practices, being the emergency responder. So you have the academy training, which is about 10 weeks. So you have that classroom that was remotely from here to have that structured training. Once you complete the academy training, then you come to the floor and have on-the-job training. And within the on-the-job training, each discipline you have to be certified in, and you have a trainer with you the entire time.
Okay. You mentioned disciplines.
Yes.
Each discipline. What could you tell us a little bit about the disciplines?
Certainly. There is the call-taking position. That's the first phase. And within that phase, you learn how to answer phones as far as calls for service. We have critical task areas in that. You have to be knowledgeable, active listening skills, communication skills, knowing the policies, retentions, notifications. We have a weekly observation report that's done on our trainees, that's done by our CTOs. Once they go through all of the learning of how to do CAD entries of calls received for service, then once they get certified, they move to the next phase of training. And that phase of training would be the police dispatch and radio that we're responsible for.
You're saying that it takes months to actually become a police dispatcher, to be on the floor and be a dispatcher.
That's correct.
All right.
With that, like I said, we have the in-house dispatch academy, which is 10 weeks. And then once you come to the floor for on-the-job training, you're looking at an additional 9 months to be certified as a 911 dispatcher.
Amazing. So for our audience out there, if they want to become a 911 dispatcher, I guess they would need a little passion.
Oh, yes. Passion, commitment. We do have online job applications, which is screened, and we get those reviews from our Human Resources Department. We're currently already have a critical testing, which is a computer-based assessment testing, which allows us, those persons that apply for the position, to be tested so that we get the best candidate for the position.
For the position.
Yes.
Okay.
And then from there, if they successfully pass the computer-based testing, then they will be scheduled for an interview. From that panel interview, they have to go through a series of other background checks, as far as criminal checks, polygraph checks, just to make sure we're getting the right person that's going to be here, because integrity counts in our department.
Integrity counts.
Yes.
Now, Chief Fox talks about integrity all the time.
Yes.
You're not going to be a part of the Newport News Police Department without integrity.
Yes.
All right. So integrity as it relates to the 911 position. Tell me a little bit about that.
We're looking for a person as far as who they are, no matter who's watching. You want to be able to do the best that you can and the best practices. We want someone that is going to be serving our community, the public servants that we have, our emergency responders. We need someone that knows, no matter what position that we're in, if we're answering that call for a child that needs help, that we're not going to disconnect that call. So we want to be there, and we have to trust our people, whatever function and whatever role they serve in. So if you're on duty, you're going to function as a city employee. When you're off duty, you're going to reflect being a city employee. So integrity does play a vital role in our selection process.
Civilian versus sworn personnel. The 911 center is populated with civilian personnel. Is that right? Or
Yes.
okay.
We have, I would say we have our 911 personnel
All right.
that are trained and certified, very knowledgeable and capable of doing all the phases of the job. But then we also have some sworn personnel in our division who has went through our training program, and we call them our part-timers.
Okay.
And they come and help us out on the telephones, which is a benefit. But that's a different requirement. We are certified for emergency medical dispatch. You have to be VSIN certified. You have to be certified as a call taker, as a fire dispatcher. So every phase of the learning and the practices that we do, you have to receive certification. We're CPR certified. Our instructors here receive instructor certification, then go through a general instructor school. We're APCO certified. We're also, far as with FEMA certifications. Our training program and our mission is to excel, not only to meet far as the local and the state and national standards, we want to excel above. We just recently went through a CALEA process, and hopefully soon we're going to be also doing for our training program as well.
So your training program will be certified by CALEA, is that what you're saying?
It's through APCO.
APCO?
Yes,
Okay.
It's called Project 33. And that is an extensive, it just shows the standards that you're doing, mandating your training program.
It sounds like a lot of work.
It is.
Okay.
A lot of work. But we have the people that are committed to seeing that the services that we provide to the city of Newport News, to the citizens, even to our visitors that come to the city of Newport News, know that we're here to help and to serve. So we just make sure whatever that we're doing, our personnel are trained and are very knowledgeable. And they do show that compassion and that commitment. And we're always ready for an emergency.
Always ready for an emergency.
Yes, we are. Very prepared.
So for our audience, once again, give me a short version of this, but I would like to know if you're really interested in becoming, say, a 911 dispatcher.
Certainly.
What do you need to know right up front? I know passion is important because it's a tough job.
Yes.
What else do they need to know?
Basically, it's someone that's able to comprehend and have common sense. You can also go to the city website, which is jobs-nngov.com,
Okay.
and apply online.
And then come down and hopefully get through one of your training programs.
Yes, and we invite and welcome anyone at any time for a tour, just to see, because there's a difference in seeing what you see on television than actually coming down here and seeing what we do. So we don't mind having the citizens to come and take a part of our tour and see what we do here on a daily basis.
Well, you've proven to me that it's a lot of work to become a 911 dispatcher, but I want to thank you for taking the time and letting us know what that process is like.
Thank you.
All right. We'll see you again.
Thank you.
And thank you for being with us on Behind the Badge.
I hope you enjoyed the tour of the Newport News Communications Division and the interviews of our employees. While this profession is very demanding, I encourage you to apply and become part of our team. You can do this by logging on to www.jobs-nngov.com. We look forward to seeing you.